is your radio, Kenneth.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Monday, the 12th day of June 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Also, hope and trust that you enjoyed the rain as well. Certainly, we needed those showers. Of course, along with the showers, after that, you will get the mosquitoes as well, but we can talk about those later, and we have been forewarned by the Department of the Environment that we could expect the mosquito situation after the rains as well. So we do hope and we trust that everyone enjoyed their weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, ensure that you observe the rules of the road. You want to keep everyone on the roads as safe as possible. That means that the aggressive driving that you do, that does not keep you or other drivers safe as well. Aggressive driving includes switching very suddenly in front of someone just to change lanes in and out of traffic, trying to get ahead of everyone, tailgating, which is quite common here in the Cayman Islands as well. But it is mainly the aggressive driving that endangers so many of us. This morning again, I saw one of those Honda Fits, or should we call it a Honda Fit, or should we call it a Honda Unfit? Maybe that's what we should call it, the Honda Unfit. For some reason, the drivers of those vehicles seem to believe that they're invincible. This morning there was one again, in and out of traffic, changing lanes. They don't drive like that on the speedways in the 500 or Daytona 500. They simply don't do it. But these Honda Unfits that we have on our roads here, they seem to be the main culprits, as well. So again, folks, please, so we have the unfit vehicles and the unfit drivers as well at the same time, Ms. Susan. Yes. Just remember, if you follow the rules, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to, of course, wish you a happy birthday and to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson Building. Or if you've celebrated a birthday over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy belated birthday as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we do wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, of course, our phone lines are open. This morning, again, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number, provide courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261. You can also call us from that number as well. We can only accommodate one caller at a time during that period. On that line as well. And you can follow us on YouTube. You do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And of course, we are on Facebook as well. So let's look at some of the birthdays for today. So we have Miss Lana Ebanks celebrating her birthday today. We have Shari Welcome and son Zion. So Shari is celebrating her birthday tomorrow, and Zion, her son, celebrating his on Wednesday as well. Other upcoming birthdays, what do we have? Tomorrow we have John Tibbetts, who's celebrating his birthday tomorrow. John Tibbetts Sr. and Alida Scott also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And we want to send a special happy birthday greeting out to Miss Pamela Small, who's celebrating a birthday today as well. That's Miss Pamela Small, the lady, always with the big smile on her face, always jovial and friendly as well. So happy birthday to Miss Pamela Small this morning as well. And to remind you again that the For the Record birthday shout-outs proudly brought to you today by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson Building. We also want to send a belated happy birthday greetings to Mr. Mitchell Smith of West Bay. He celebrated his birthday yesterday. Michelle, one of our Olympians, cyclist for the Cayman Islands as well, along with, of course, the Marin brothers, Craig Marin and Perry Marin. Also some of our cyclists, just in case you didn't know. I think in those days, in the days of Mr. Ted Gray, cycling was extremely popular in the Cayman Islands. It is still today as well. But those days, the face of cycling in the Cayman Islands, of course, was Mr. Ted Gray. Also involved Boba Nunes, Mr. Boba Nunes, and I'm trying to remember his name. I wished him a happy birthday the other day. That name will come back to me soon as well. But so we had Michelle Smith, Craig Marin, Perry Marin, Richard Pascal, Stefan Barrow, Dennis Brooks, Wade Tomasa, some of the other ones there. Let me Mario Sanchez, Edison Jackson, and still many of them are still involved in cycling. Of course, now Craig Marin has his bike shop, Craig Cycles, as well. So Michelle was involved with all of those, still involved in cycling as well, also involved in the sort of management side of things, as far as time management is concerned, timing systems and stuff, and, out there on the senior circuit as well. And of course, he's an inspiration to many of our West Bay old-timers as well, who are out there pounding the, shouldn't call it pounding the pavement, but out there every morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sunday mornings as well. So Michelle is an inspiration to them. He's out there, as well participating. So belated happy birthday greetings going out to Michelle Smith as well. Miss Susan, we're going to take that our commercial break now, because when we return, I want to share some of the press releases that we have received, and this one in particular will be about the removal of the legal requirements for, or the lifting of the legal requirements for vaccinations, COVID vaccinations in the Cayman Islands. We will share that with our audience when we return, and also to remind you that later on in the show, we expect to have the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Ports, in the studio as well with us. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
James Alexander Bernard, JP. James Bernard was affectionately known as Mr. Mercy to his family and friends. Some people called him Papa Jim. He was married to the Formula Mary M. Dixon and had one son, James L. Bernard. Like most Caymanian men of his era, he went to sea as a young man. He eventually became an accomplished cook. He also worked in the gold mines of Nicaragua. After retiring from sea, he farmed and is best remembered for being a butcher. He was a justice of the peace and a vestryman.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture. Tap into your roots. More Than Words bookstore in the Thompson Building. Supplies local books, gifts, trinkets, keepsakes, wall plaques, and journals. The hub for local authors. More Than Words. So much more. More Than Words is now open. Shop number 4, 2nd floor, Thompson Building. Or call 936-5544.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. We do have a caller. Before we go to the caller, though, I just want to repeat or share this name with you as well, Peter Larder. So along with Boba Nunes, along with Mr. Ted Gray, we also had Peter Larder and a gentleman also by the name of John Reed. They were all involved in cycling in the Cayman Islands in the late 70s, early 80s, as well. Like I said, they were the face of cycling, introduced competitive cycling in the Cayman Islands, took our youngsters under their wings and encouraged them, supported them emotionally and financially as well. And all of those young men, those young boys turned out to be productive, extremely productive members of our society as well. So Peter Larder was included in that as well. Some of you may remember him. Peter Larder was with Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, CIBC, at the time as well. So we do have that caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Miss Susan. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Yep. A quick question, if you could find out for me. I found out and I went across there yesterday in East End area, the Golden Age home in East End. I understand it, or it seems like it's closed down, and all the folks that was in there from East End have been sent down into West Bay. That's
been quite a period. That's been for quite a period of time. I believe that it may have had to do with either some renovations or something, but that's been quite a while. I'm sure it's over a year that has occurred.
Yeah, and I realize that a lot of the senior citizens in the Cayman Islands, our own people, are passing away because of lack of loneliness.
Lack of loneliness or because of loneliness? Which one? Lack of loneliness, that means that they're not lonely.
Yeah, well, and how you put it, sir. But
no, that's the correct way.
Okay, if that's the correct, sir. But they're lonely.
Mm-hmm, right.
That is why, because their own children, some of their own children, are locking these old folks away. And the people that are coming into the country to say that they're caretakers really are not doing a great job. And I want to find out if you can find out what is the reason for that, because we need one of those Golden Age homes in each district of the island to take care of their own people in that district, that their years could be more enjoyable until the good Lord takes them away, because these people are very lonely.
Good point. Good point.
There's nobody to talk to, and the people that are coming to take care of them, they are not from here. They can't reminisce with the elderly. So that's all I wanted to find out. I understand the government got some land in Bordentown. They need one in Bordentown as well. I don't know if they got any north side, but the one in East End, they should have that. I mean, come on, man. That's our own people that we're trying to take care of, you know? So if you could find out what is the situation with the one in East End, and if there's any plans being made for any others to be done in because I know Bordentown don't have any.
Certainly will. But I have a question for you, because, I know you. We were neighbors, or your, family members were neighbors as well. And you had some elderly grandparents, but they lived in their homes for their entire lives. In the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, we didn't have a home for our elderly. We took care of them ourselves. So my question to you is, where have we gone as a society where we have moved from taking care of our own, each family member, each family assuming that responsibility and taking care of their own, where we are now in 2023, that we are at that point? Is that progress for us? I can understand having hospice care and things of that nature for persons, who have terminal illnesses. But when it comes to taking care of our elderly, I believe that is an indictment on our society. This island has not gotten any bigger, from geographical standpoint. Yes, the population has gotten much bigger as well. But where are we, and how far that we have come, that we now have to rely on institutions to take care of our own families?
Mr. Connor, you're 250% right, sir. Exactly. We, the older Caymanian generation, we didn't make our parents go anywhere. We took care of them until breath left their body and their home. But Cayman has developed this new generation.
I don't know if you can call it development. Yeah, go ahead.
This generation that we in now, they don't have any love for their parents, and they lack respect. But the Bible tells us these things that would happen, Mr. Connor. You're right. on Wright and Shaden Road, all of those people, we took care of them until the last breath drawn in their body, and they were well taken care of. Mr. Connor, I'm going to close now. The people that is coming in to this island that are saying that they're caretakers, they're saying that they qualified in this. Nobody is checking them. I know that people are taking care of our elderly here. They come in the house in the morning, and they go in to look at the person in the room, and they don't go back in until evening when they're leaving. And the people that is coming into their house, trust me, all kind of things are being missing out of their house because they just don't care. They are there for the money. And you know why? Another thing, plenty of Caymanians would do that job, but you know why? The salary isn't enough. So they don't want to pay the right salary for the Caymanians to do the job. So they use the excuse that no Caymanians want to do that job so that they can get the foreign workers. Thank you, Mr. Connor.
Okay, thank you.
Answered my own question today.
Thank you very much. We do have one more caller. Before we go there, again, I'm going to repeat this because it's coming from family and friends. Miss Pamela Small celebrating her birthday today, and everyone wants to wish her a happy birthday. And of course, I spoke earlier about that infectious smile that she always has, and that friendly demeanor as well. So happy birthday greetings again going out to Miss Pamela Small, coming from family and friends as well. We still have one caller. Let's grab the caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. This is MP Bryan.
Good morning, Minister. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I just want to catch all of those listeners on the radio while you're driving into work to not change that dial. I'll be in studio in about 20 minutes. I think that's about it. 7:15 after the news is done. First to talk about my recent travels as well as some discussions about the airport and anything else that may come up for the people. So,
yes.
I always commit my time to them. So stay tuned. I'll be in the studio to talk with the public in a very short period.
Yes, and Minister, and some people want to know more about that private member's motion that was passed in our Parliament in relation to with pensions withdrawals as well, and where that goes, from there, and with the decision to have a select committee. I'm not sure if it's going to be a select committee of the whole House or what, but we can talk about that as well. I would like to hear more about that, because what some people are complaining about, including myself to a certain extent, that the information coming out of government is coming out. When it does come out, it is slow in coming out. For some reason, we have all of these communication specialists in every ministry, every department, but getting news out is extremely, extremely painful, tedious, and slow.
Well, I'll see what I can do. I'll talk to the Premier about rectifying that. But in the interim, I'll try to answer every question as best as I can once I get into the studio. Any question that the public has, it's my job to be able to answer it. So
Excellent.
I'll be there shortly.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, I think by then Minister Bryan will be in the studio. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. And I'm sure that he will be taking calls as well at some point in time during the discussion. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Hey, have you started preparing for hurricane season yet?
Not yet. I'm not sure where to start.
Well, making a grocery shopping list is a good place to begin. You'll want to stock up on non-perishable food items like canned goods, peanut butter, and crackers.
What about water?
Definitely. You'll want to have plenty of bottled water on hand. And don't forget about hygiene and first aid supplies.
That's a good point.
Foster's has a great emergency kit checklist online. Just go to fosters.ky or look out for the helpful signs when shopping in store. Foster's. Better because we care.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Cayman Islands will address the Financial Action Task Force plenary this month as part of the process for being removed from the FACTF's list of jurisdictions that are being monitored for anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism deficiencies. Prior to the event, the Ministry of Financial Services and Commerce delegation will discuss AML, tax, beneficial ownership, and other matters with European Union stakeholders. Minister responsible, the Honorable Andre Ebanks, says the ministry's last visit to the EU was back in November.
However, there have been a number of financial services-related developments since then for our government locally and in the EU, so we're looking forward to engaging with our counterparts on these important issues.
The FATF plenary will be held the 19th through the 23rd of June in Paris. FATF sets the global regulatory standard for anti-money laundering and terrorist financing, and it also monitors countries for their compliance with this standard. The climate change public policy consultation meeting heads to East End tomorrow. Here's Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego with more.
The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency has launched its public consultation period for the draft Climate Change Policy 2023 to 2040, now open through June 30th. The public consultation for the draft policy includes town hall meetings across all three islands. Representatives from the Ministry, Cayman Islands Department of Environment, Hazard Management Cayman Islands, and the Cayman Islands National Weather Service will be on hand. East End's meeting will be held at the William McLaughlin Civic Center starting at 6 p.m. According to the ministry, the draft policy aims to protect and help our people now and in the future by building resiliency into all sectors of our society and economy while safeguarding important ecosystem services. Officials say feedback is an essential element of inclusive, equitable policy development. To learn more about the draft climate change policy, check out www.gov.ky/sustainability/climate change policy. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
And just a quick note, the phone lines at the Georgetown Police Station are currently down. If you need to contact police, you can call the West Bay Police Station on 949-3999 or Boddentown on 947-2220 for non-emergencies. As always, for an emergency, you should contact 911. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. The former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has died at the age of 86. The billionaire media magnate led the government 3 times but was dogged by allegations of corruption as well as scandal in his personal life. The current Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, called him one of the most influential men in Italy's history. The Russian President Vladimir Putin described him as a true friend. Silvio Berlusconi will be given a state funeral in Milan on Wednesday. A massive data breach in India has resulted in the personal details of hundreds of thousands of people being posted online. Among them are senior politicians and prominent personalities. Cyber attackers claiming to be pro-Russia hackers have shut down access to several Swiss government websites. The attack coincides with a national patriotic holiday in Russia and comes days before Ukraine's President Zelensky is due to address the Swiss parliament via video link. Ukraine says another village has fallen in its week-old counter-offensive. Ukraine's Deputy Defence Minister posted a photo showing soldiers hoisting the Ukrainian flag at Storozheve, west of Donetsk, which is not far from the 3 settlements liberated on Sunday. Ukraine's military intelligence says Russia is preparing to evacuate the town of Armyansk in Crimea because the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam has put a chemical plant in jeopardy. It said the facility was being mined for demolition. Reports from Iran say arrest warrants have been issued for 2 actresses for not wearing the mandatory hijab. Azadeh Samadi and Leila Bolukat have been summoned for questioning on accusations of harming public morality by removing the hijab. China has called fake news reports it's using Cuba as a base to spy on America. There have been numerous reports citing anonymous US officials saying Beijing is intensifying espionage efforts from Cuba. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
This Father's Day, celebrate the hero in your life with the perfect gift from Reflections Clothing Store. Sales, sales, sales. Save 10 to 75% off brands like Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. From timeless classics to modern trends and athletic wear, Reflections has the perfect fit for dad. Save even more with our clearance baskets. Everything priced $10 or less. Don't miss the chance to save big while making dad look his best. Celebrate dad in style and save 10 to 75% off on Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. Only at Reflections Clothing Store, Shedden Road, beside Mango Tree, and across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 9.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 76%. The barometric pressure is 29.94 inches and rising. The wind is out of the southeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 83 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers with moderate winds and seas are expected across the Cayman Islands over the next 24 hours as a high-pressure system builds over the western Atlantic Ocean. Radar images show scattered showers in and around the Cayman Islands moving towards the northeast. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures today will be in the upper 80s. Winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. For tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures dipping to the upper 70s tonight Winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 2 minutes past 12, and a high tide again this evening at 6:43. The sun will set this evening at 2 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:48. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Brit-K. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Brit-K, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving our goals is rewarding, but at times can feel frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, keep it positive. The human brain does not work very well in the negative. For example, if told not to think about pink elephants, most people's brains go straight to a pink elephant. When setting goals, focus on what you are doing rather than what you are not going to do. For example, instead of saying to yourself not to go on Facebook, say to yourself that you will study more.
Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look this time at traffic. Coming from the east on the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is steady. Busy traffic heading to Georgetown on Crew Road. Expect some delays as you're heading down to Georgetown. Coming off of Agnes Way, traffic is slow moving and steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. Slow moving traffic of Walker's Road heading to Georgetown. And off the Esther Tibbetts Highway, steady traffic and continuing on to North Sound Road. Slight delays expected, and traffic is steady coming from the Industrial Park area heading towards the Butterfield Roundabout. As we look to the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And a little steady traffic on Hulda Avenue and tapering off to Elgin Avenue. Traffic is moderate. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive. And coming from the West Bay four-way stop, traffic is moderate. And no issues on Owen Roberts Drive, as we mentioned. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
This Father's Day, celebrate the hero in your life with the perfect gift from Reflections Clothing Store. Sale, sale, sale. Save 10 to 75% off brands like Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. From timeless classics to modern trends and athletic wear, Reflections has the perfect fit for dad. Save even more with our clearance baskets. Everything priced $10 or less. Don't miss the chance to save big while making dad look his best. Celebrate dad in style and save 10 to 75% off on Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. Only at Reflections Clothing Store, Shedden Road, beside Mango Tree, and across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 9. The 22nd Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Humility, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Awesome performances by Rico Rolando, Dream Chasers, Radiance Dance Studio, UCCI Dancers, Centerpoint Dance Studio, Sparks School of Performing Arts, Dan Ebanks, and more. Hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker. Part of the proceeds from the talent exposition go to support the training program of the arts. Tickets available from Number One Shoe Shop and Winner's Circle Sports. Prepaid $15 or $20 at the gate. The 2023 Talent Exposition of the Arts, Humility, Sunday, June 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Get your tickets today.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're, of course, expecting Minister Bryan. He will be in the studio soon as well. Meanwhile, that gives me an opportunity to share with you this press release in relation to the lifting of the legal requirement for vaccination, COVID vaccination in the Cayman Islands. So this was a press release on the 9th of June 2023, says that the legal requirements for non-Caymanian residents and their accompanying dependents to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 has been lifted. Effective the 9th of June, the same date, applicants for new work permits, work permit renewals, permanent residence, certificates for specialist caregivers, and student visas, as well as persons submitting applications to add dependents or applications for cabinet entry permits, amongst other applications, will no longer have to show proof of vaccination. The press release goes on to say on the 5th of May 2023, the World Health Organization, the Director General, accepted the advice offered by the International Health Regulations 2005 Emergency Committee regarding the COVID-19 pandemic that it is now an established and ongoing health issue which no longer constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. However, this must be interpreted within the context that the committee noted that SARS-CoV-2 has been and will continue circulating widely and is evolving. Chief Medical Officer Nick Gent is quoted as saying, when the provision for mandatory COVID-19 vaccination for work permit holders and permanent residency applications was created, it made sense as a public health measure at the time. However, as we have all seen, much has changed in the last 3 years since the start of the pandemic. Immunization remains a vital tool in protecting the population against severe disease, and recency of immunization is key to maximize the benefits from vaccines, thus ensuring that recent arrivals on our islands have access to COVID-19 vaccination and boosters as a public health program is far more beneficial than relying on immunizations that have been given prior to their arrival. He further stated it is important that our public health measures evolve and adapt to ensure they will remain effective in light of the changing reality of the pandemic. Minister of Border Control, Honorable Dwayne Seymour, is quoted as saying, as Minister for Border Control and Labor, I thank my cabinet colleagues for agreeing to lift the legal requirements for vaccinations. The decision was made after careful consideration of the advice from the Medical Officer for Health, and the Cayman Islands now joins a number of international countries transitioning to a post-COVID reality. Persons or employers submitting applications to Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman, WORC, WORC, or persons seeking student visas through Customs and Border Control can download the necessary applications, which have been amended to reflect the removal of the vaccine requirements. And you can do that by visiting www.worc.ky, or you can also visit www.cbc.gov.ky as well. And just to remind people that the vaccine is still with us, so while it may not be as potent as it was at first, I mean, so the virus, sorry, the vaccine is with us too, but the virus is what I wanted to say. The virus is still with us, maybe not as potent as it was before, but it is still out there, so you still want to exercise cautions. And I must say, I still see some persons wearing masks as well. But you know what's funny about it? You don't hear anyone now complaining about it or feeling somewhat when someone around them is wearing a mask as well. We always want to protect ourselves and also to protect those around us as well. So we now have Minister Bryan in the studio. Minister, good morning again. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the listening audience. It's a pleasure to be here on the radio with you on this beautiful Monday morning. I hope that I can have some good conversations with you and talk about some of the things that are affecting our people here in the Cayman Islands. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent, excellent.
Well, okay. So,
I'll leave it to you to start off, to get the conversation going.
Perfect. Well, OC, the last time I was on, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we spoke tremendously about the much of the immigration matters. Today, I want to speak about my recent travels. I was away in New York and got back on Friday. In respect to me being the chairman for the CTO, Caribbean Tourism Organization, had our annual meeting and was there dealing with that. Even though that's not directly affecting Cayman, I just think it's important people know what I've been doing. I've been asked to come back to New York to raise the Caribbean flag with the mayor of New York later this week.
Eric Adams.
Yes. Really lovely gentleman. It gives Cayman some good exposure as well as the Caribbean to be asked to raise the Caribbean flag in New York. So I'm happy and privileged to do that, and intending to go back to New York very shortly to deal with that. But you rightfully asked about the motion in Parliament just on Friday, which was brought by the former Deputy Premier, the Honourable Christopher Saunders, in respect to amendments to the Pension Act to increase the availability for withdrawals for certain purposes. I want to talk about that based on your request, and also I want to speak on the announcements right before I left to go away, which is the Cayman Islands Airports Authority Airport Development Project, which we did a press conference on. And I've had the opportunity to have a couple of people give me their opinions, and there will be public consultation on this project. But more importantly, I want to address some of the key responses I got, which is, and I'm quite sure you've heard people talk about the fact that we want to do these amendments to the airport, but the jetways is not a part of that. And it's important that I talk to the people and explain to them why that is not the case. I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row here in respect to the information, so I can make sure I give it to you clearly. And forgive me, or see if you can give me 30 seconds by just talking to the public for a couple of minutes, and then I would be able to outline exactly why that was.
Okay, what I'll do, I have one article that I want to share. I constantly see photographs of Shedden Road and H.O. Marin and Company, and this article in the Trade Winds newspaper. So I'll share this, and then we can go to a commercial break, and then when we return, then we can start with that. So on the try to find the date here, the 12th of June, actually, 1967. So how many years that would be? 56 years by 56 years to the day, or to the date, 12th of June. This was published in the Trade Winds newspaper. Another milestone for H.O. Marin. And just to show you, where one of the prominent merchants in the Cayman Islands, where they came from and how they evolved. It says here, on the 1st of June, H.O. Marin and Company Limited reached their 61st. So this is in, like I said, now in 1967, that they had reached their 61st year in business. Says the event was celebrated with their annual anniversary sale, which, as always, is proving to be very successful. Says that the business was started by H.O. Marin, that's Henry Orrin Marin Sr., the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. John Josiah Marin. He married Catherine McCoy, and 11 children, 6 sons and 5 daughters were born to that union. I'm going to pause there for a second and say, now I understand where the McCoysville, which is located in South Sound between the two tanks, between the Esso and the Soul tanks, that I was wondering, why was that called McCoysville or McCoy's Villa? And now I understand why. Because Henry Orrin Marin Sr. was married to Catherine McCoy. So, and 11 children, 6 sons and 5 daughters were born to that union. Goes on to say that Mr. Marin began business in a small way with a store on the same site where the present business now stands. As time went by, the business grew bigger and prospered until now. There are several branches on the island. At the request of people in the North Side and East End districts, branch stores were established. At that time, there were no connections by road from Georgetown, so the merchandise was sent by boat. H.O. Marin and Company Limited traded with numerous countries and are known as wholesale and retail merchants, commission agents, and Lloyd sub-agents. Members of the Marin family were also the first hotel owners in Cayman. Mr. H.O. Marin Jr. owned and operated the Bayview Hotel. Some of you will remember that for many years. One of the company's affiliate companies owns the Pageant Beach Hotel. Some of you may remember that as well. They used to be ship owners too, but are not connected with that industry now. Through the years, they have employed many people, most of them getting their first opportunity of employment. The company have been of great service to the Cayman Islands throughout its history. Tradewinds congratulates H.O. Marin and Company on their 61st anniversary and wish them many more years of successful business. Folks, that was the 12th of June, 1967, from the Tradewinds newspaper right here in the Cayman Islands, and it has been my pleasure and honor to share that with you. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Minister Bryan will continue, so please stay tuned.
Health behaviours and lifestyle choices such as diet and smoking can be risk factors for non-communicable diseases. The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey will allow the Ministry of Health and Wellness to gather important data on the health of the nation, including these risk factors. This information will inform our plans for the health needs of Cayman's residents, allowing us to better serve our population. Learn more by logging on to www.gov.ky/steps.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay Mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
This Father's Day, celebrate the hero in your life with the perfect gift from Reflections Clothing Store. Sales, sales, sales. Save 10 to 75% off brands like Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. From timeless classics to modern trends and athletic wear, Reflections has the perfect fit for dad. Save even more with our clearance baskets. Everything priced $10 or less. Don't miss the chance to save big while making dad look his best. Celebrate dad in style and save 10 to 75% off on Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. Only at Reflections Clothing Store, Shedden Road, beside Mango Tree, and across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 9.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Minister Kenneth Bryan. Minister, over to you.
Thank you again, OC. And before we went to the break, I was just saying the topics that we were going to be talking about this morning, as per one of them, as per your request, which is the private member's motion. But before doing so, I wanted to talk about the press conference we had just a week and a half ago, actually a week ago, Tuesday, about the government's decision to allow the airport's authority to do some redevelopments at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And though there's 4 key areas of that redevelopment, and one of them is the extension of the runway strip. The other one is an improved new facility, general aviation facility. Another one is to deal with some security and surveillance equipment. And the other one has to do with the end of the airstrip in Kim and Brack, which had to get some compliance issues resolved. So the last 2 are what you would call minuscule compared to the first 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is the extension of the runway airstrip. Now, the whole project itself will amount to $76 million. Just thinking off the top of my head, I don't have the report with me, but $76 million. And I've got a lot of people ask the question, granted, some of these things would be beneficial in their minds, but why are we not prioritizing the jetways? And the answer is pretty straightforward. The government, when I became Minister for Airports Authority, by obligation of law, had to do a new master plan for the airport, because every 8 years you're supposed to do a master plan.
Okay.
And the one that they were using from before was outdated. So you had to do a new master plan. And in that master plan, it basically tells you what is the best kind of airport you need. And I'm talking about all 3 of your airports for the future, for the next 40 years. Throughout that development, it gives us a breakdown of different projects, or the whole vision of what you should be, what all your airports should be if you were in a financial position to cover everything. And they break it down into different sections. So in this master plan, it has the upgrade to the actual Owen Roberts International Airport, has upgrades to General Aviation Airport, upgrades to Kim and Brack, and a runway, upgrades to Little Cayman, as well as a brand new facility in Little Cayman. Obviously, the total amount for all of those things in an ideal world was $800 million. And the airport, the general airport in Grand Cayman, the Owen Roberts International Airport, if that was done by itself without the other ones that were suggested, other projects like Kim and Brack and Little Cayman and General Aviation and the runway strip, would be well over $400 million. Now, so how does that impact the whole jetway situation? Because you're saying, well, you're doing $76 million on general aviation and you're doing the runway. Why are we focusing heavily on those things? And it's simple, because in order for us to do the main airport, where in order for you to do the jetways, you have to do the main airport, which forces you to have to spend $400 million or more. Hence the reason the government is not in a position to do so, because jetways has to be on the second floor, and that's a part of the bigger master plan of the airport redevelopment. So after analyzing the whole development plan, the master plan, what could we afford to get done, and which one was most beneficial to the country as well as the airport's authority? And within the margins of revenue, which some fees would have to be increased in order to have the monies, because the government's strategic policy statement for what their priorities are for the next 2 to 3 years coming up in the new budget, there was not room for borrowing for the airport in that. So the airport authority had to be able to generate the revenue itself to cover the $76 million. So ultimately, we're going to increase the fees, $15 development fee onto your tickets, and a $5 airports authority fee, which deals with some other matters like security, upgrades, and so forth within the operations of the airport. Now, that's how we'll find the revenue. And I had to squeeze that by taking the risk of people saying you're increasing the ticket fees. Now, why that call was made, it was quite simple, because the 2 things that majorly took up the cost, being the airport runway as well as the general aviation is because those are revenue earners. So by extending the runway, it allowed the Airports Authority to attract other flights that normally wouldn't come to the Cayman Islands because the airstrip is a lot longer, bigger planes can land. Those bigger planes can also land at different peak points because the planes that we have coming into the Cayman Islands right now usually peak at midday, 1, 2 o'clock. And that's what the problem with our airport now, where we operate in a hub and spoke strategy coming out of the United States, because 80% of our tourists come from the United States. And we cannot dictate to the American airliners like Delta, American, JetBlue, Continental, all of those ones. They come in based on connecting flights to other states. So they will always come in between that 10 and 4 o'clock block. And what we have is the underutilization of the airport from the early morning when we open to when they start coming in, and from when they stop coming in to the late night hours. Now, if we had a longer airstrip, we can have some what we call red eyes, or sometimes people call them black eyes, flights where people will be landing at 10 o'clock at night or coming in first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock, where they've been flying all night. And with that runway, it extends the opportunity for more planes and more passengers to come in. More passengers mean more revenue opportunities for Airports Authority. The more revenue opportunities for Airports Authority puts them in a financial position to do the other things that we need to do to get the jetways. Now, I know that sounds very complicated, but there is reason behind going to focus on the runway and the general aviation. So speak about the general aviation, because sadly, one of the reporters saying, why are we focusing on the rich people and not getting runways and not getting jetways? And if you look at it in that simplistic term, it may sound right, but the general aviation is just under 40 million. As a matter of fact, let me get these figures right, because sometimes they quote these things on the radio. I didn't bring the paper with me with the exact figures. It's here. Well, just give me 2 seconds. But ultimately, within that $76 million, we are going to do a brand new general aviation facility. That facility is another revenue opportunity, because we have to recognize that we are a high-end jurisdiction. A lot of wealthy people come to the Cayman Islands, and they come in their private jets. And a general aviation facility is an opportunity to raise revenue. For one, it's in line with the standard upon which we expect here in the Cayman Islands, being a high-end jurisdiction. The general aviation that we have right now is below what our Cayman brand looks like. And our model in Department of Tourism and overall is quality over quantity. So this allows us to expand and have more opportunities for Airports Authority to get revenue through rentals of the space for their aircrafts, hangars for their aircrafts to be secured into, as well as a lounge facility that would be leased out, and revenues will be made through that way. So those two projects will give the Airports Authority greater financial possibilities once they're completed to raise more revenue, and then have a better financial model to come back and say, okay, government, now that we've done this, here's our projections of revenues we're going to have in the future. Allow us to have the loan abilities to do the bigger airport where the jetways will be involved. Because right now, with the revenues that they're making right now, they would not be able to facilitate unless government intervened and gave them the borrowing or gave them the money, which the government has indicated that it doesn't have the financial position to do so because of other commitments like the dump, East-West Arterial, and some other projects the Honorable Premier will be happy to explain to you on the radio. So we're not in a financial position for borrowing. So, actually, to be honest with you, a lot of people have been concerned about the tightness of our loan abilities, but we're working on ways to loosen that a little bit by doing some reductions in some of the spendings so that we're in a better position for the future. But ultimately, we believe that this is the best model moving forward to be able to put the Airports Authority in the best position to have their own financial position, their own revenues coming in to justify the upgrade to the airport. Now, unfortunately, you can't just put the jetways in by themselves. You can do some makeshift ones. but ultimately Jetways comes in on a second floor. We don't currently have a second floor, and the new design that they created there wasn't with Jetways in mind. If they had retrofitted the building from then without doing the Jetways, then we could have done a simple add-on, right? You're just paying specifically for the Jetways itself. But we don't have that option because the design wasn't done that way. You'd have to basically do the redesign of the main airport and the Jetways. And that cost is well outside the reach of the financial position. That's why, because trust me, I would love nothing better than to have Jetways. Not only is it important for my seniors, my Caymanian people, when they're coming back home, that they shouldn't be exposed to rain, but as the Minister for Tourism, it offers us the better opportunity to give them the passenger that first experience. When they're coming off the plane, they've been soaking wet, they're already starting to have a negative experience within the jurisdiction. And I'm in the business of promoting experiences. That's what the minister does. So I am just as minded as the public to have Jetways. It's just their financial limitations. And some people will say, well, you got to send the $6 million. You mean to tell me you can't get Jetways within that? The reason why we're going to send $6 million is to be able to get more money to pay for the whole bigger development, which is going to be closer to $400 million, where the Jetways would be connected to, because the Jetways can't go by themselves. You have to upgrade the whole
Now, this obsession that we have with the Jetways, you've been to Grantley Adams Airport in Barbados, right?
Yes.
I don't believe that they have Jetways,
they
but
don't.
they have a very, very good system, in terms of you to be able to access the aircrafts in terms of what they have on the air side, what they have covered for you to be able to walk on, I believe. If my memory serves me correct, when I was there last.
Well, I've been there about 4 times now within the last year, and due to the CTO obligations. And when you come off the plane, actually, Cayman offers a better system, because between the plane and the airport, there's actually a road that you have to have operators to ensure the cars stop while you're passing the road to get to the airport. What they do have, which we don't have, is when you're coming into the airport from mainland to check in and drop off, they have great coverage there. But they're operating the same system as there's no Jetways at all. And matter of fact, I can't think of the only place that I know in the Caribbean off the top of my head that has Jetways is Jamaica. I think Bahamas has it as well. So we're not like the only one island that doesn't have it. Matter of fact, it's appreciated by many as a Caribbean experience to come off the plane without Jetways. But I mean, for our own people, we see that as, okay, we in the Caribbean already. We don't want to ruin water. So I understand where we're coming from.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cat traffic con Lychee and Hollywood Squares for this old girl this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
This Father's Day, celebrate the hero in your life with the perfect gift from Reflections Clothing Store. Sale, sale, sale. Save 10 to 75% off brands like Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. From timeless classics to modern trends and athletic wear, Reflections has the perfect fit for dad. Save even more with our clearance baskets. Everything priced $10 or less. Don't miss the chance to save big while making dad look his best. Celebrate dad in style and save 10 to 75% off on Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. Only at Reflections Clothing Store, Shedden Road, beside Mango Tree, and across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 9.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have about 8 minutes before we go to our headline news, which is relatively short. In the studio with me, of course, is Minister Kenneth Bryan. This person says, "Good morning, all, Mr. Bryan. What about putting covers over the walk-up ramps? If there were covers there, at least when passengers get to the walk-up ramp, they would be sheltered." And this other person says, "We don't need jetways here, really. All of that is keeping up with the Joneses. $25 million per jetway was mentioned last time. I heard there was a complete. It is a complete waste of the people's money. Wider coverage for the walking pathways is a cheaper solution." Person also goes on to say that the only issue that they had with the new airport construction was why did they build a new foundation so low, knowing that they are in a swamp. So they're talking about the building itself being low, but I'm not sure that the foundation of the airport was ever replaced from initially. It would only be those extensions to the airport itself, I believe. I could be wrong, but
well, we have different views on this. Obviously, some people believe we should have jetways. Some people think that the cost associated with it would be too much. I say that we are eventually going to have some jetways in this country. Once we upgrade the airport, we got to recognize that we are a growing society. We are a very attractive jurisdiction. We're one of the only Caribbean islands that actually have our own national airlines. We're starting to be in the business for aviation within the Caribbean. Many countries are turning to us for connectivity and so forth. And aviation business is good business as long as you run it right. And there's great revenue opportunity for the country. There is great job opportunities for people. A lot of young people want to be pilots. A lot of young people are into mechanics, particularly in the engineering, security, and surveillance operations. So we're going to have in my humble opinion, I wish we were in the position to do it, because I would move forward with this plan right away. Because we have an opportunity where many Caribbean islands are looking to the Cayman Islands as a leader, like how we are a leader in many other areas. Particularly with this extension of the runway, It allows us to be a facilitator through the Caribbean, particularly because our geographical location and our connectivity, particularly with most of the Caribbean being to the east of the Americas. So we're in a very advantageous location, and I think that we're going to get there. Now, whether or not we want to take away the experience of the Caribbean feel with just doing every spot the plane comes in, puts a jetway, I don't think would be ideal. That's just my opinion, but we'll make the facts and the data tell us whenever we get to that point. But I think it's appropriate to have 2 to 3 of those available in the event of those times of the year when it's raining, and that there's options for the plane to go up to the jetways. But I think many people embrace the opportunity when they get back home. I remember I was away in Toronto for 2 years, and I came back home. This was in the early 2000s. And I came home, and I literally got off the plane and kissed the ground. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had got off a plane onto a jetway.
Yeah. We have one caller. Let's see if we can grab the caller before we go to our 9 o'clock headline news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Morning, Doc. How are you?
And good morning to Honorable Minister.
Good morning, Doc. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. Honorable Minister, I was the deputy chairman of the airport authority from its inception, from its separation between the other from the regulatory branch and the airport. That was 2001. I was there until 2013 as deputy chairman of the airport. When we had the master plan, the planners at the time suggested that we move the airport out of Georgetown because we did not secure the land that was necessary for the expansion of the airport. And that was because all the way on this car rental now was being sold by a man called Old Joe. Remember Old Joe?
Yep.
Yes. Old Joe wanted $800,000 for all that property. All that property goes right to back to the sea in the North Sound. And there were some people in the government who thought that was too much for a little black man to have in his pocket. And they didn't, but they didn't follow our instructions to secure the property. As a result, Andy bought it. And when we decided we had to expand the airport, we went to him and asked him to sell. I think he wanted 10 or 14 million for it, which the airport authority refused to pay. Now, we entertained. Well, I was in charge of the update of the airport because Dick Arch, brother Heber Arch, were one of the bidders. We asked. We put out a bid for the airport. We had Canadian company came down, and that's a long story. I don't want to go into that, but we rejected what they wanted to do. They want to set up 2 terminals, an arrival and a departure, which we didn't want to have. We had, I think, with Chalmers Gibbs to do the plans for the update of the airport. We wanted to go upstairs, take off the top, go upstairs to the airport. And we had the plans. I have copies of them now in my possession. The plans that we were going to build boarding bridges on the 2nd floor. We were going to, the boarding bridges were not costing no 20 million. They were costing 5 million for 3. And we went to 4 different banks in the Cayman Islands and asked them would they sponsor them, and they put up all of their advertisement in them, and they said yes. So it wasn't going to cost us anything. And it would be costing us, I think it was then $7 to $8 million for the upgrade with boarding bridge on the 2nd floor, immigration on the 2nd floor. All the airlines that were there came to see us. We had an audience with them, and they said that they wanted to have first-class lounges for their first-class passengers, and we said we include that in a food court. We set out to do that.
Dr. McPhail? If I could, I would definitely support you by saying that if the government of the day did follow your instructions, we wouldn't be in the position where we're in now. And I think that's ultimately what you're going to say, which I agree with you wholeheartedly. At the time, you had found a appropriate plan, a very cost-friendly plan, one that would have set us up for growth in the future, and they didn't do that. Unfortunately, as Minister to now and this government today, we're forced to have had a plan that was developed, a lot of money spent, no provisions for an addition to add-ons for jetways, and in order for us to get jetways, we had to basically go up a second floor. There was no thought about the jetways. So I agree with you. I just know that we have to face what we're facing now because they didn't take those directions or suggestions and advice from yourself and your board at the time.
Doc, I'm going to ask you to hold on. We have to go to our headline news. Give you an opportunity to wrap up when we return. So hang in there for a minute or so, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Cayman is heading to Paris later this month for the Financial Action Task Force plenary, part of continuing efforts to get the jurisdiction off the list of those being monitored for anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism deficiencies. A few days before the plenary, the Financial Services Minister will also meet with several European Union officials. Silvio Berlusconi, Italy's flamboyant media mogul and politician, has died at the age of 86. His personality struck a chord with the Italian electorate, which continued to back him despite allegations of corruption and double dealing. He was prime minister 4 times. Each time, it seemed his political career was over, but he did manage to bounce back. 9 years after he was banned from public office for tax fraud, he was back in Parliament, elected to Italy's Senate, before he turned 86 in September 2022. He died in hospital in Milan after being treated for lung infection and leukemia. His funeral will be held in a cathedral in Milan on Wednesday. This is according to the diocese there. Berlusconi was former owner of AC Milan. Ex-captain Paolo Maldini has said, quote, "Thank you for everything, President." Those are your headlines. I'm Kersley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
HSA's cardiology clinic is now located at Smith Road Medical Center. Our cardiology team provides expert care and treatment for heart conditions such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, arrhythmias, hypertension, congenital heart diseases, among others. The new location offers state-of-the-art cardiac diagnostic testing, including echocardiograms, ECGs, and stress tests. To contact, call 949-8600. At HSA, your heart matters to us.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We still have Doc on the line. We're going to give him an opportunity, for him to wrap up. Doc, go right ahead.
So, among other things, one of the things the Canadian company was complete control of the airport. When I asked them how many of our workers they were going to keep, they said they couldn't tell us that until we signed a contract with them, and we said that kite's not flying up here. Mm-hmm. We're not giving up control of our airport. Mm-hmm. And then things start to go down. And then I read the PFM law that says that we can have a sole source provider. So I wrote the Attorney General and say, am I reading right? He said yes. Once you make the business case. We made the business case for a sole source provider, and we invite them in, and they gave us a real great deal because we were getting money then from the passenger facility charge, and which we could have used and didn't have to borrow any money because we told them we couldn't borrow any money, and they said we will go up on the second floor for you, open that up, and expand the second floor and all the stuff. We will do that, put in the escalator from the second floor down, where passenger will come down the second floor, go down to customs, got their baggages and so forth. And I'm talking fast because I know I don't have time.
You're right, yeah.
And so we asked them about the runway. They say from $9 on the passenger facility charge, we would put in 2,000 feet in the north sun in the runway. We had the tests done and everything, and we found it was like 1.5 feet of mud down there before you got to the bedrock and everything. And we said, okay, we're going to go with you guys. We sent a letter of intent to them And then they ousted McKeever in 2013, I think it was. He got ousted from his job, and the new set of guys came in. And the minister who was acting then called us in and said we should stop what we were doing.
Okay.
Stop what we were doing.
Okay.
And then, of course, there was a new election. New people came in and they completely scrapped the plans that we had.
Mm-hmm. So that's where we are today. Doc, thank you very much for that historical perspective on that as well. We do have another caller, but we're going to ask that caller to hold on there because the minister wants to cover something before we go.
OC, because I want to go into the other topic of the pension, which I'm going to go into some great detail.
Okay, so we'll take the call and then we'll close off the lines for a few minutes so you can go into the pensions as well. Okay, let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC and Minister Bryan. How are we today?
Good morning, fine. How are you?
Good morning.
I am blessed and highly favored beyond all measures. OC, I hope you would allow me to interrupt. I've been trying to get through this one morning to address the caller that called this morning about our seniors. They are have the seniors month that they take out seniors once a month. Normally meet at Emsley Church Hall.
Okay.
And they have good time. They feed them. And Cayman Kind Action Committee also solicits funds to take them out on day trips or even abroad, with our sister islands, thanks to the ministers who assisted with that. So we do a lot of stuff with seniors, and you can make contact with 925-4083 or 916-2751.
Can you repeat those numbers again, please? Slowly.
916 2751 or 925-4083.
Excellent.
Yeah, so they can contact those two numbers to find out what we have planned for the seniors on a monthly basis.
Okay.
My next topic that I would like to bring in, and Minister, maybe you'll be able to give me an insight on this. Is it legal for a MP to what's the word I'm looking for? To political drive a board.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the question. To politically do what?
We had on Wednesday there was issue brought to the House on top of Parliament to read out from the TMP board regarding some double yellow lines that were put down in Windsor Park. Now, is it legal for the TMP board to be politically driven to the decision of the reverse of removal of those lines?
To answer your question straight up, yes. I think you were speaking particularly to the honourable member for West Base, for Georgetown South, Miss Barbara Connolly, advocating for the double yellow lines in the Windsor Park area to be removed. She has the right constitutionally to advocate on behalf of her people. If Parliament accepts it, then they're the biggest body in the land to change the legislation in respect to certain areas and zoning certain areas. Whether they take the advice as to the traffic suggestions created is a different question. But I would never, ever suggest that a member of Parliament should not have the right to advocate their position on behalf of their people. Now, I recognize that there's the double yellow lines in the Windsor Park area is a very contentious issue. Some people believe it needs to be moved. Some people believe it needs to stay because it creates some serious traffic safety issues. One that I recognize as well. But I think there's a bigger issue in the country that would help resolve this, which is the maximum amount of cars that we're having and the roadways and the size of the roadways in respect to that. But to answer your question, whether we accept whether the line should be there or not, a member of Parliament's responsibility to advocate for something they believe in respect to their constituency is something that we can never ever take away, because if you do that, then you've practically taken away democracy. So I support her in her attempts, not necessarily saying that I agree the line should move, But she has that authority. She has that right constitutionally to do that. And she would not be breaking any laws whatsoever.
So, but the way that I look at it is safety, in which it has been working since those lines went down. Safety is not her priority. What if, God forbid, something was to happen, that somebody get licked down walking around a parked vehicle? Bear in mind, the road is narrow already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, suppose somebody get killed walking around one of those parked vehicles. What then?
Well, but that's a different question. Now, first question was she right and legal to do what she did? And I said yes, she had every authority to do so. Now, whether the people in that area would hold her accountable for advocating for something that can be perceived to be unsafe, that's for the good people of Georgetown South to decide. That's not my area to intervene in respect to that. So they obviously are watching whatever she's advocating for or against, and making their own political decisions in that respect. And I think that you're one of those persons from that area that are not happy with her decision for that. But there could be other people who are in favor of it. I really was hoping not to get in the middle of that today. But what I want to say is she has that right to make that call. The community also has the right, if they want to come together as by way of majority, to say no, MP, we want those lines there. Get together, sign a petition, and if you get the majority, that's how democracy works. But I think this is just a filtering process of what the people want.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
caller. Just wanted to share this with you if I could find it. Someone sent a message about the. Okay, here we go. Yeah, say please convey this to the minister. Even the largest airport in the island of Hawaii does not have jetways over 9,000 passengers a day, and they make it work. I think we should focus on the larger issues first as proposed, then maybe the airlines themselves may sponsor jetways if the load factor is validated. For now, invest in umbrellas and sell advertising space on them. The umbrellas can then be given away and serve as a marketing props worldwide as passengers return home. We could have an airport bus in the event a Northwester, etc. As well. Now, the part that you talk about the airlines, another listener opine on the same thing, whether or not the airlines would have an interest in participating in the funding of that. We know that when the terminal was being built, that American Airlines expressed to the airport's authority or whoever the regulator was then of the airport, they wanted to build and were prepared to finance their own section, just like how you have in Miami International Airport and other areas where they have their own wing where all of their flights come in. They wanted to do that in the Cayman Islands, and of course the government at the time said absolutely no, because they didn't think that they wanted to be influenced by a foreign carrier. But sometimes, we need to look at what happens worldwide and what basically could work for us.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, OC. There's obviously benefits there, but there are disadvantages. And ideally, if you are in a financial position to take care of these things on your own, it's always better to have full control.
Yeah, you own them and you control them.
Yeah. So we in usual cases, that's the Cayman attitude, to say we don't want nobody owning anything for us, and it's it's an attitude that I embrace. It's pride. It's showing our own support for our own self, and that's been the Caymanian way. But as we are tensed and pressured for other fiscal measures to deal with other projects, it could be something we can consider, as long as the contracts are done in a very protective way, to say ultimately we still will have the last call and you put the necessary security measures in place. I think the fact that they just want to have access is as far as I would go. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I think it was smart that the previous administration decided to say, no, we would rather take care of it ourselves. And we have the UK, who is our mother country, who dictates our debt service ratioing and why we can't really afford it, because we could be we could borrow the money. The revenues will come in. It's just that they put us in this tight squeeze why we can't go out and borrow the money.
But you said that the administration said we'll do it ourselves, and they took care of it. They didn't take care of it, though, because we ended up, with a terminal that, had already outlived its usefulness by the time it was completed. We thought we had a big terminal in the mid 80s, and we outgrew it, before we even moved into it as well. So they never did that. We're going to take the commercial break, and when we return, Minister, we know you want to continue the conversation, want to talk about the private members' motion on pensions. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Do you own a Honda vehicle? Well, there's currently an urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags in Honda vehicles in the Cayman Islands. Car City is currently replacing any defective airbags completely free of charge. As affected vehicles get older, a combination of high temperatures and humidity can affect airbags with the fault, placing you and your family at potential risk. To check whether your vehicle is affected, go to carcity.ky/recalls. If your vehicle is not affected, you will require a letter from Car City stating so for your next vehicle licensing inspection. Without this, your vehicle will not pass its inspection. Please contact Car City Service Team at 949-5525 or go to carcity.ky/recalls. The safety of you and your family is important to Car City, so please take the time to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, none other than the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister with Constitutional Responsibility for Tourism and Ports. Minister, over to you.
Thank you so much, OC. In the interest of time, I'm going to try to be as quick as possible because I want to hear from the public. The Honourable Member for Bordentown East proposed a motion, the Honourable Christopher Saunders, Bordentown West, sorry, my apologies, Bordentown West, seconded by the Honorable McKeever Bush, brought a motion to increase the pension or make amendments to the current pensions law, which ultimately would seek to increase the amount of money you can withdraw from your pension for the two current provisions within the law, which is to pay down on a property as well as to pay off on a mortgage, as well as a new provision to withdraw to just pay down on your current loan. That was successfully passed unanimously in Parliament outside the two members that were absent at the time. So that motion it has been accepted by government, and just a lot of people have asked the question as to say, well, what does this mean now? It is important that the public understands the difference between a motion and a bill. So a bill is the changes to a law or the creation of a law. So what this motion is asking us for is for us to change the law to make it come into effect. So this is just an acceptance by the members of Parliament that the government will now make the necessary steps to change the law. And the law would be the Cayman Islands, sorry, forgive me, let me just make sure I say this correctly, the National Pensions Act 2012 revision. So ultimately the government has accepted that we will make the necessary changes to that. So how does that happen? The minister responsible will bring a caucus paper basically saying something like, as Minister for Pensions and based on the parliamentary acceptance of the principles of increasing our pension for withdrawals, for down payment, and for payment to mortgages, therefore request that Cabinet approves for legal drafting department to make the necessary changes to reflect the intention of the motion passed in Parliament on X date. We'll pass that in caucus. Once it's passed in caucus, then we have to go to Cabinet. Cabinet approves it, and then the drafting department will go through the National Pensions Act, look at the various different provisions as to the motion's intent, to find the different sections, and in the motion it actually highlights what sections it is. And this is probably the point where I should read to you what the motion says.
Sure.
It says, private members motion number 17, 2022-2023, whereas local and global economic conditions have changed since the implementation of the National Pensions Act, and whereas amendments to the National Pensions Act have not kept pace with the local and global economic realities, and whereas the COVID-19 global pandemic required quick legislative initiatives to assist the people of the Cayman Islands, and whereas the legislative body has the constitutional responsibility to consider the impact of laws passed and the enactment to ensure that they are in the best long-term interest of the Cayman Islands, be it therefore resolved that the government considers amending Section 52B(1) of the National Pensions Act by increasing the amount from $35,000 to $50,000. Now, 52B(1) outlines, and I'll read the specific part of it, what it says.
Mm-hmm.
It says 52B(1) says, notwithstanding Section 55 and 56, but subject to the remaining provisions of this section, a person who is Caymanian and a non-current homeowner may withdraw from his or her account in a pension plan an amount not exceeding $35,000 as a deposit. Now, that section basically speaks about withdrawing for a pension, and the motion that I just read speaks about increasing that section to move it from 35 to 50. So that's pretty straightforward. So that has been agreed. The second part of the resolve says, and be it therefore further resolved that the government considers amending Section 52B of the National Pensions Act for the benefit of all Caymanians. Now, focus on this part, benefit of all Caymanians. Now, if you're not fully versed with the law, you might not understand what that means until you read it. So 52B(2) says, notwithstanding subsection 1, a person who is a non-current homeowner who owns land in the Cayman Islands shall not be entitled to withdraw an amount from his account in a pension plan as a deposit to purchase another land in the Cayman Islands. Mm-hmm. So what the law is, what the motion is suggesting is that change it so that all Caymanians can benefit from it, because the law currently says that if you already have a piece of land, you can't use it to pay it off. So that change in that motion is suggesting to say, if you're a Caymanian homeowner, you have a house already, and you got that paid off, you did well when you were younger, you were responsible, you paid it off, and you want to buy another piece of land, why can't you use your pension to do that? So that part of the motion is suggesting the government makes the changes to take that section out, to say that even if you have a piece of land already, you can use your pension to buy a second piece, which is, all members support that. At this point, you want as many Caymanians buying land and houses as possible, because before long, we won't be able to get nothing left. Anyway, that's a little side joke. The third part of the resolve section says, and be it there further resolved that the government considers amending Section 52C1 of the National Pensions Act by increasing the amount from $35,000 to $100,000. So what does that say? 52B1. Let me just make sure I just said that right. 52C1. And 52C1 speaks to about paying off your mortgage, and I just want to read it clearly, and I encourage those persons who are interested from a mortgage perspective, buying or paying off, get a copy of the National Pensions Act 2012 revision. Read these sections from 52 on to 56. You want to read all of it and digest it, okay? 52C1 says, notwithstanding section 55 and 56, but subject to the remaining provisions of this section, a person who is Caymanian may withdraw from his account in a pension plan an amount not exceeding $35,000 required to pay off an existing mortgage on a dwelling unit in the Cayman Islands, so that the dwelling unit is free from any encumbrances. Now, basically, you can pay off your mortgage right now, currently by law, up to $35,000. The motion is suggesting to increase that amount from $35,000 to now $100,000. So if you are lucky to be a person who has less than $100,000 left in your mortgage, and you also happen to be lucky enough to have $100,000 in your pension, then you would be able to pay off your mortgage once this amendment has been, once this law has been passed. Now, the law has not been passed yet. I want you to bear in mind that, folks, because sadly, and this is why I highlighted in my debate, many motions get passed and never see the light of day.
Yes.
Right? And I'm going to promise you, I'm going to keep the pressure on within my government to make sure we get this done in a timely way. And by all means, don't get it. I don't want people to be left with the idea that the government is not truly in support of this motion, because we are. Because what we have recognized is, particularly with the Premier's efforts to try to talk to the banks, to give relief to those mortgage payers, Caymanians, and they're not willing to budge, then we have no other choice but to find some solution for our Caymanians. And this is one of the ways. Now, people are going to say, well, you're depleting the pension plan, but if a Caymanian don't have a house, it don't make no sense to have a pension, because the biggest expense that you have once you become retired is a roof over your head. So we're in support of that. It's just a matter of how quickly can we get it done.
If I could interject there. So what do we do other than this to hold the financial institutions accountable as well? Because in essence, what we're doing here, while we're helping the pensioner and the homeowner, we're also helping the banks, because they don't now have to worry about the foreclosures, and they end up getting their money while at the same time not contributing anything to this, because they're the same ones who have refused at the end of the day to do anything about the interest rates, because we know that they can vary them. We saw, for instance, what Butterfield did in Bermuda when the interest rates went up 50 basis points. They only increased it by 25 basis points. So they have that flexibility if they want to exercise it.
Well, OC, you see, I somewhat not in full support of the overall assessment. I'm going to tell you why. Because the banks are in it for making money, and by all means, I'm not here to stop them.
Sure.
Right? Everybody is in business to make money. But money that is justified based on contractual arrangements. What we have allowed by way of our laws to allow these types of contracts to be done. Now, we cannot sit here and cry and talk about what the banks do to us if we're not strong enough and courageous enough to stand on behalf of the people to change the law.
Yes.
So I don't want, because I don't want to say things to undermine any of my colleagues, I just said I'm not going to say anything. But we need to find a solution. I think this pension situation could be the solution. Because the truth of the matter is, the public some people are not going to be happy about what the other extreme position is making legislation to stop them from doing that. But even when you do those extreme measures, that helps protect your people, it also reduces the availability of funding available to the public, because banks are here because we have allowed this vulture type of approach on borrowing habits, where people can to be taken advantage of. In other jurisdictions, there's a lot more protections, but in those jurisdictions, it's also harder to get a loan as well. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. I do believe that, yes, this may be a get-out-of-jail card for the banks, so to speak, in some people's eyes, but it's not necessarily, you're freeing at the banks. The banks are doing what we've allowed them to do all the time. So they're not really doing anything wrong. It may be immoral in our eyes. And you say, boy, geez, and peace. You mean to tell me now you can't give the people a break? The people in business are not here to give you a break. I don't expect any different from them. Whether, if I was the premier, whether I would make a different decision as to how we handle it as a group is another question. So matter of fact, I don't want to go further down there. I think we have a solution in this respect.
Okay.
One of the things...
We have to take the commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
She hear clunk and our car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
This Father's Day, celebrate the hero in your life with the perfect gift from Reflections Clothing Store. Sales, sales, sales. Save 10 to 75% off brands like Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. From timeless classics to modern trends and athletic wear, Reflections has the perfect fit for dad. Save even more with our clearance baskets. Everything priced $10 or less. Don't miss the chance to save big while making dad look his best. Celebrate dad in style and save 10 to 75% off on Dockers, Levi's, US Polo, Nike, Reebok, Puma, Adidas, Nautica, and more. Only at Reflections Clothing Store, Shedden Road, beside Mango Tree, and across from Kirk Napa. Open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 9.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller. Before we go to the caller, though, Miss Susan, we have a few more birthday shout-outs here as well. And this person says that they've been living overseas for the past 2 years. They still listen to Dwayne on Talk today. Dwayne, Sterling Dwayne, you're extremely popular. I'm going to just invite them to also listen to For the Record on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. But this person wants to send happy birthday greetings, 10th birthday greeting to their daughter, Emma Sophia Whitaker. So Emma Sophia Whitaker, happy 10th birthday to you as well. Also, we understand that Mr. Floyd Borden is celebrating his birthday today as well. And birthday greetings coming from your entire family, Mr. Floyd Borden, as well. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to the honorable member, minister.
Good morning, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. I don't know if I know economists, and I don't know whether I should have called my good friend Johan Moxon before I make this call, but I'm talking about the pensions and mortgages at the bank. What about Minister of using the pension money and putting it into the development bank, making the development bank have access to that instead of investing it overseas, because I know a lot of people actually lose money out of their pension by them investing it overseas, which I also did. And then the government always brag about having surplus. Maybe we could put some of that also into the development bank, and then we encourage all Caymanians with a mortgage to move their mortgage to the development bank. And, we get the development bank to buy out their debt, from the other banks. Wouldn't that be also an option?
Yeah, it definitely could be an option. I'm not sure about the development bank, and I say that because of some of the parts that were highlighted by callers before. I think it was on Friday. In respect to the fact that when you put a development bank, it's seen as a government bank, and you've seen how difficult it has been for governments to, call on their loans, because there is seen as going against your own people. Yeah. And when politics gets in the way, it gets very ticklish. Now, I agree though, because Dr. Macfield on that program at the same time said we should not be afraid to put in institutions that can operate appropriately, regardless of whether it's a Caymanian or not, if they have defaulted to withdraw. But no government wants to be associated with taking away a person's home. So I see the problems there. But I do see where there's potential benefits for our local pension could be invested in things that are not controversial. For example, a new electricity company, a new or investing in water authority, or investing in the airports authority, or a new port, something like that. Those things that there's guarantees.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you brought in that personality part in with the politician in the making decisions on their own people. But then maybe we could be a little more lenient instead of kicking them out in 2 months missing payments. Then we could call them in and we could kind of see what the situation are.
Yeah, well, there's always going. You see, what I'm saying is, there's always going to be some people, whether it's 1%, who are people who just do not do what they're supposed to do. They're not responsible. They don't follow through with their payments. No matter how much you work with them, they still put priorities like going out and having a good time than paying their bills. They're always, no matter which society you're in. This is not only to Cayman. This is everywhere in the world. And a government will never, even if it's just 1%, hypothetically speaking, if you had, 1,000 loons out there and 1%, that means it's 10 people, right? Which government that is made up of a board that is operating the Cayman Development Bank wants to say to put 10 Caymanians out of their home with their family and kids, and then next thing you know, they're on the news and say, yeah, the government put me out on the street with my children, but don't want to say the story behind the scenes, which is that person has not been paying at all for 5 years straight. So
Okay,
so I'm saying don't expose the people's pension to that liability. Put them in something more secured. Like say for instance, Water Authority has been making profits for decades. They never lose. There's other things like the Port Authority will never lose. We import everything. Put the money into more secured investments rather than things that can be politicized, is what I'm suggesting.
Good point.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, like you say, the banks are playing hardball. So what are you going to do?
Well, I don't necessarily think that I don't think that we can't solve the housing problem in another way. And I don't really want to go down that road because I think it's best that my colleagues be here together to talk about that, right? But the housing availability problem is not because of the banks. It's because of a lack of our commitment to put the funding necessary there for affordable housing for our people. That's my position on that. I don't want to dwell into it too much because I don't want to step on too many toes. But myself and the member for housing can happily come on. Gray, give me a little blade on this one. I don't want to go too far.
Lord Gray, thanks very much for that. We have two more callers. We're going to try to grab both before we go to our next commercial break because, you know, when
actually,
you discuss...
if that's possible, I know the callers may be upset with me on this, but I want to finish the last two therefore resolved sections because they may want to comment on that.
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
we're going to ask the callers, please be patient. We will take your calls.
I do apologize. Okay, so the last two resolved sections was the part about raising it to $100,000 under 52C, which basically talks about allowing you to withdraw from your pension to pay off an existing mortgage. I think we covered that already. Ultimately, you get $100,000 worth to pay off. That would be great because it would help a lot of Caymanians who are dealing with the high interest rates. But the last two parts of the motion that calling for is an establishment of a select committee of the whole House to talk about pension reform. So all of these discussions, like what Graham just spoke about, can be discussed there. Where are we putting our pensions? How are we going to do our pension? Are we going to increase the pension contributions? All of those discussions, and have the actuariums and the analysis come and present in front of the people in open court, so to speak.
But these other amendments will take place before that. Before that.
Well,
yes.
Simultaneously. The hope is simultaneously because the select committee, it's up to the Premier to call it whenever he indicated that he's going to do so. Hopefully that could be done in the next 2 weeks so we can start the process right away. But the changes to the legislation is probably going to be about at least 3 months because of legal drafting, and you have to go back to Parliament again. Right? So that's going to take about 3 months, but the select committee can start whenever the Premier calls.
And this will be a select committee of the whole House?
Of the whole House to discuss all the various different amendments. But the most important part, and that's why I want to intervene before the call is now, is the last one, which I am so proud of all members for supporting this, which is this one. It says, and be it there further resolved that the government considers amending the National Pensions Act to allow the withdrawal of up to $50,000 for the purposes of paying down on a mortgage and personal real estate loan, and that the government will put in place the necessary security requirements similar to that of subsection 52C9 of the National Pensions Act. Now, this is three parts to what was just said there. Let me explain. The first two was pay down on buying a house first. The last one was paying off a house. This one is just saying to withdraw to pay down on the mortgage. So you can be anywhere in between.
Reduce your liabilities.
To reduce your liabilities. But it's even greater than that, because if you are a Caymanian who are facing foreclosure coming up, you haven't, for some reason, the interest rates just put you out of whack, and you're back by 4 months, and you're getting these little letters. This can help you, because you can go in and withdraw up to $50,000. You know, I wouldn't suggest you take out the whole thing, but if you're back behind like 4 months, I would say go ahead and take out 6 months worth to give you a little breathing room to pay down on it. That would pay out your arrears and give you a little breathing room until the markets find themselves in a better place, or whether you rearrange your money and your finances in a better place. So this can be the solution to the foreclosure pending problem that a lot of people are talking about.
And just for clarity, the individual does not get this money in hand. There's an arrangement with the borrower for that money to be
paid directly to the bank. Correct.
To them.
Very good
well.
point, OC. Very good point. So by all means, they're not just going to go out there and gallivant and spend the money like what the old people say, gallivanting. But the other part to the motion that was just highlighted, which is key, it says, and this is a part that we agreed in government why we decided to do it, is there's a security mechanism. And it says, and that the government will put in place the necessary security requirements similar to subsection 52C9 of the National Pensions Law. So let's talk about what that says in the law. 52, forgive me, I'm trying to navigate as fast as I can because I know we have callers, but 52.9, it basically speaks to 52.9 or 52C9. 52C9, sorry. Forgive me, I'm trying to move fast. 52C9, which basically speaks about if you try to sell a property, here we go. Where before attaining the normal age of retirement, a person sells the dwelling unit acquired through the use of an amount of withdrawal pursuant within this section. So anybody who reaches retirement age who use this provision to withdraw from, the person shall, upon the completion of a sale, return the amount withdrawn, or 10% of the fair market value of the dwelling unit, which one is greater. So basically, what that does is protect the pension. So persons are going to be saying, government, you can't be taking out the pensions, you're hurting the pension, they're not going to have that for the future. What we're saying is we have to cover them now while they're going through difficulty. But if for some reason, God forbid, they sell the house, or even if the bank forecloses on them, the first thing that needs to be paid back is the amount that you withdrew from the pension to put back in there, or 10%, which is greater. So you could have taken out $35,000, but you sold the house for $500,000. 50% of that, or 10% of that, would be $50,000. So you've actually added to your pension in the event of the sale. So I just thought I would.
So I would imagine one of those measures that it would put in place would be some sort of notice on the property.
Correct.
So a hold on the property.
Yes, that is already in
some caution on the property.
Exactly. That's already actually. Let me just quickly read this. 52C9:11 says, "This in this section, encumbrance has the meaning assigned to it expressed under Section 2 of the Registrations Land Act." So they can put a caution on the land, so you can't sell it without the government knowing about it.
Excellent. We're going to take our last commercial break. Still have those two callers on hold. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Do you own a Honda vehicle? There is currently an urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags in Honda vehicles in the Cayman Islands. As affected vehicles get older, a combination of the high temperatures and humidity can affect airbags with a fault, placing you and your family at potential risk. Car City is currently replacing any defective airbags completely free of charge. To check whether your vehicle is affected, go to carcity.ky/recalls. If your vehicle is not affected, you will require a letter from Car City stating so for your next vehicle licensing inspection. Without this, your vehicle will not pass its inspection. Please contact Car City Service Team to arrange this by calling 949-5525. That's 949-5525, or go to carcity.ky/recalls. The safety of you and your family is important to Car City, so please take the time to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show. Still have 2 callers on hold. We're going to take those callers, and I just want to say to both callers, if you have a question and you want to get a response from the premier, we have to do it all within 10 minutes. So yeah, from the minister. Sorry, Freudian slip. First caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning.
Good morning, OC. Good morning, Honorable Minister.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I know we have limited time, so I'll try my best to summarize as much as possible. Jumping back to the first topic of the airport development.
Okay.
Now, $15 for runway and some terminal, and $5 for general aviation. I'm assuming these are Cayman dollars?
Some feedback from you, caller. Getting some feedback.
That's correct. They're Cayman Islands dollars.
That makes it $20.
Correct.
I'm sure the minister will agree that current departure tax is come up to about 95 US or so. So this increase is 20%, which is massive just by a percentage term. First point. Second point is...
well, no. I apologize. I want you to stop there for a second because I can see that there's some intention behind the questioning. I can't agree with you that it's a 20% increase. I can't recall off the top of my head what the total amount is, but these fees increase. We have assessed it in comparison to the rest of the Caribbean, and we're still below the competition in respect to the fee amounts as per other jurisdictions like Bahamas and Jamaica, which is our main competitors in the tourism market. But go ahead. I'll listen to the second part. I just want to make sure you don't beat me up on the first one first before you get to the second one.
No. The beat up will be, I promise you, will not be harsh. The 20%,
okay.
The 20% wasn't a question. That's
okay.
They are $95, which converts to $7 to $9.80 CI. $20. It's actually more than 20%. So that's a fact. Second part is now, assuming an average amount of travelers per year around the $500,000 mark.
Mm-hmm.
At $20 means you're going to be getting an additional $10 million a year. If every single passenger that comes now decides to come in the next couple of years,
mm-hmm.
and we know recession is sort of looping around the corner, but for the benefit of the doubt, let's leave it at $10 million per year
mm-hmm.
off of these new fees additional.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take $7 to $6 million to complete
mm-hmm.
the development. That's 7.5 years. If you do, some inflation on that money, probably 8
mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question. When would this development start? The expenditure for it, not the designs and the concepts and everything. When is it intended that the first dollars would be spent on this?
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to answer it right away. The intention is to do the EIA right away. Once the fees are implemented, which we expect to have them implemented within about 3 months from now, it takes some legislative implementation, particularly for the $5 fee. The $15 one can be done by way of a regulation. So the collection of revenue for it is going to be started before the project itself. The key component to the airport runway, which is $28 million, will start EIA process, which is going to take about 12 months, which is that full first year in order that you're going to need to start the development. And the financing structure is based on payment of revenues as they come in, so there will be no need for borrowings. The amount of money collected will be over from 2024, and that's what the initial phase was, but I'm trying to speed it up to get some of the revenue collection in this year. So it's supposed to be from 2023 to 2029, which generates an additional $104 million in total. This project itself is going to cost $76 million, but in real term prices, depending on by time you get to inflation, by the year 2029 could be about $86 million. So there will be extra revenue on top. Based on the rate of collection, the projects can start as the money is coming in, focusing heavily on the runway as a priority. And we know that we're going to have to use about a year and 2 months or so for the EIA to be finished before the start of that. So we'll have a solid 2 years worth of revenue collections beforehand, which would amount to about close to $30 million or so.
I want to thank that caller for that. Caller, thank you very much. We're going to grab the last caller. We have 4 minutes left in the show. Sorry, caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Bryan. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. I'm so sorry for the delay. I really do apologize. Okay, I know I talked a lot, but some of these facts are important. So let's hear the question, sir. Good morning again.
Okay. I just have one question. If I am thinking about leaving the Cayman Islands to go to migrate somewhere else, would it be a problem for me to get my pension to go with?
You know, I can't recall. I think that the law says that you would have to retire first before you can collect for it, because when they did the pension reform, a lot of expatriates our work permit holders were trying to, I remember there was a date that they had to withdraw all their money from if they wanted to do the withdrawal. But I'm not the pensions minister, but if my memory serves me well, you would not be able to withdraw until you get to your retirement age, if my memory serves
Could
me
possibly transfer to another pension fund.
Another pension fund.
I know that is allowed within the islands now. Outside of the islands, I'm not sure as well.
I can happily get the answer for you. The Minister of Pensions wanted to come on this morning, but he had a number of other meetings that he had to deal with. So I can get that answer and hopefully get OC to air it another time.
Yeah, because I really want to migrate to go somewhere else.
Yeah, you could probably get it transferred,
Right.
but I don't think you would be able to withdraw it for that purpose. Otherwise, everybody say, I'm going away for a year or two.
I think the pensions office could be instrumental in providing that information. That is the safest place to get that information.
That's very true.
From.
Thank you, OC. So if you call the pensions office, they'll be happy to give you that information, sir.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
No problem.
Thank you
God
very
bless
much,
you.
caller. Okay, Minister, give you an opportunity.
Yeah, just to wrap up on the pension matter, the three components or four major components of the amendments of the motion is one, an increase to pay down on the house from $35,000 to $50,000. The government's position is it's more reflective of a 10% market value of an average house. When they did the $35,000 back then for the down payment, it was more that the houses were averaging $350,000. Now houses have gone up, so it's rational to go up to $50,000 on the first one. To pay off, we went from $35,000 to $100,000 because that would be the best benefit right now in the inflationary pricing market that is out there for Caymanians. That we think that would be able to give them the best effect once the law comes in. The third part is also going to be beneficial for those who are not on the end or the start to be able to say give themselves some breathing room while we level out on inflation over the next year or so. The last part is the select committee of the whole house, which means that we get to discuss the whole pension system and whether it's fit for purpose, what changes do we need to make, and also have the professionals, the actuaries,
because you can call witnesses, you can call
witnesses
experts,
and everybody,
and you can invite the public also to
to participate.
Yes,
so you can hear from the public how they feel about why we should change it and so forth. With all that being said, one thing I want to leave the listening audience with.
Before you leave them with that, someone had a question about the craft market. If you
I can get to the craft market, but I have to do this part, which is we have to give much kudos and credit to the Honorable Christopher Saunders, the elected member for Bontown West, who brought this motion, recognized he was going to get a lot of criticism, and I'm glad that the government and him can sit down and come to a rational place where there's a level of security in place to make sure that the money is just not going all down the drain or going out to people to just use it up for not for the purposes it is meant to. And that we can potentially have some relief for the public in housing issues within the next possibly about 3 months is the earliest I think it can happen. But I leave that to the minister responsible and the premier to say. But we'll be talking about that in caucus later.
And it was
today.
unanimous
And
based on all those present. And
yes.
You know, and
so the
voting,
opposition did support it as well. So hopefully they don't say anything contrary to that later on in the future, but they did support this move as well. In respect to the craft market, I think the question off air was that what is the plan for the current craft market location?
Yeah, that was an email.
As I said before, we're designing a new craft market location at the site just north of the Lobster Pot, which is the new waterfront experience location that has to go through the general tendering processes within government, which sometimes I think is sometimes just a lot of red tape, as McKeever would say, but I have to follow it. It's the law. Unfortunately, the plans for that location will not be executed till about the end of 2024 with a completion in 2025. So the craft market, where it's at now, is at a temporary location at the old Tower Building site, which is government property. But if you recall, that location was also designated as the Siemens Park location. So that's why it's in a temporary position, because I can't put anything permanent there because it's not delegated for the purposes of a craft market. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to have a new craft market location. Also bearing in mind, the reason why we're in a temporary location is because the former location where we had before, which was given privilege by the colonels, that lease was not renewed right after the election, and therefore...
Is that currently being utilized now, that area?
Unfortunately not. I'd asked the family to allow us to continue there until they were ready to use it. They said they had plans for it. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything happen there. It would have been great if they had allowed us to stay there, because I agree with people's view that the temporary tent setup is not ideal for Cayman's brand, but we don't have any other choice. And it would have been great if we were down at the other location. But they have a right. They're Caymanians under law. If they don't want us to be there, there's nothing we can do about that. I just want to thank the colonels for all these years of allowing us to be there. It's just sad that we're not there today until we get the new location.
Okay, one of our listeners in talking about the discussion that I had with our first caller this morning about the elderly and the rest home that's located in East End. This person says, point taken, we are elderly. However, there are cases where the family needs specialist help, like at the Pines. And the person says that they know one elderly gentleman who wanted to go there. And they asked me to acknowledge that fact as well, which I have. And also to say to you all that it appears as if, is this today? I want to make sure that this is today. Yeah. Says that the phone lines at the Georgetown police station currently down. Persons needing to contact the police should call West Bay Police Station 949-3999. Or Bordentown at 947-2220 as well. I want to thank the minister for being here this morning. I want to thank all of those who participated either by calling in or by email or by WhatsApp. I apologize that we weren't able to address all of what you may have said there, but there were many messages that reflected the same sentiment, so it was only the need to say it one time as well. All of those birthday people out there, again, we say to you, have a great day. Enjoy your birthday as well, folks. I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/